What is up, everybody? It is a new version, a new day. Welcome to Wicked Crazy Pinfalls. As I say every time, what's good, boys? How you doing?
Good.
Trying to stay warm in all this snow. My son's had 2 days off of school. He may get a third. We'll see. Last night I went into work, and I sent this in as a Humper chat to Fightful last night. I was 20 seconds from the parking lot of where I work, and I got the call. Hey, we got called off. So I was like, I had to turn around. So I was like, all right. So I stopped in because I did have my bonus check. So I was like, all right, I got that. And then I was like, all right, well, let me finish watching the tag title match from Dynamite before you leave. So I just pulled into the parking lot, pulled it up on my phone, watched the end of the tag title match, and I was like, okay, and now we're good. And thank goodness Ray Phoenix is all right. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank goodness that's just a dislocation and not a break, because that was gnarly. Yeah. That looked. I didn't even notice it the first time because until I saw people online reacting to it, and then I went back and found the video, and I was like, "Oh, that's really." So thank goodness he's all right. And
so this week's been very interesting. I know Rob wanted to come on for a few minutes and stuff like that. So, as reported from Fightful.com, our boy Sean Ross Sapp, good friend of the show and stuff like that, the man himself, Samoa Joe, has been released from WWE. I'm going to say
after Regal.
Yeah, I'm going to say my thoughts quick, and then we'll pass it around. I did state this is that I'm happy for Joe. Nobody should be happy about losing anybody else's job. Let's just leave it at that. But I'm happy that he's not going to be with WWE. But I'm also sad that he was misused by WWE, but also not going to be on me be able to watch him for a period of time. Him as a commentator, wrestler, and all that stuff was great. He reminds me a lot like Punk in WWE, but that can transition to anything. But like the saying goes, and I said this before, one door closes, another one opens, and I'm very happy to see what's next for him because he seems like a really amazing person and a really good wrestler overall. The floor is yours, Rob, considering I know you wanted to say a few things.
Yeah, it absolutely sucks with what WWE is doing. The easiest way to say it is they moved NXT because they wanted to compete with AEW. They did that. They moved it. They ruined the best thing about WWE, in my opinion. That was NXT when it was 1 hour, occasionally 2 hours with TakeOver and stuff. So they moved it. And then, because it didn't work going against this company, you basically moved to Tuesday nights. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but the way they're making it look, and I think it's obvious, is they're making this look like it's Triple H's fault. They're getting rid of every Triple H guy for the most part, except for so far they haven't let go of Matt Bloom or Shawn Michaels.
Wonder why they haven't got rid of Shawn Michaels. We all know why.
But anyways,
know why. He's safe.
Do we know why?
No, we don't.
I disagree. I don't think we know why. I don't.
But anyways, they do
safer
this.
than the other guys. I'll say they're safer than the other guys that got released.
But they do this, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, this was the best part of NXT. The stuff that Triple H did. That was the stuff we liked. The black and gold brand. The writing's on the wall, like, for these guys to leave. I never like to speculate people leaving, like, not on their own accord, but I don't know how, like, some of these guys are going to be able to stay, because it's like they have their mind made up. When you let go of William Regal, one of the smartest minds in professional wrestling, you let him go when you're a guy that has done many, many scouting trips for the WWE. And just look how many wrestlers have come out and said something positive about how he's had an effect on their career. and you let this guy go. You let him go, and for what? You still need to teach these people you bring in how to wrestle.
If you're going to younger
It doesn't make any
generation,
damn sense. And I know they're doing the NIL program for like college athletes, and I get that they're trying to do something that they're trying to go back to things. They want to teach the wrestlers themselves. They want to make wrestlers, and they want to teach them themselves for the most part. They want to do that. They want, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. But the problem is, it won't last, because they could be the greatest athletes in the world, but if they don't have the charisma to be on TV, to speak in front of that camera, it's not going to work. And the next thing you know, they're going to be doing the same damn thing again. They're going to be signing people left and right, and it's just going to be a circle, just keeps going. The only way this stops is if somebody buys this damn company, which I'm hoping somebody will eventually. It turns out for the first time that some of the overtures seem to make sense, that WWE actually tried to sell to Fox when they negotiated for their SmackDown contract. That it turns out that Fox turned them down because they wanted way too much money, which doesn't surprise me. This company, we all love it. We watch wrestling, WWE, WWF, pretty much almost all our lives, I assume. And they're making a product that they're making a product where they're going to lose fans. Now, granted, the internet fan like us, like who are on Twitter, are a small amount, but if we don't like it, I'm telling you, other people don't like it either, even if they're not on the internet. When they see that their favorites are gone, when they see that
Adam, bad. It's very bad.
When they see the Adam Coles and the Daniel Bryans and Dean Ambrose is on the other channel, they're gonna start liking those guys over there, and they're gonna like some of the new talent they see, like Jungle Boy, MJF, stuff like that. And that's fine. Like, I love wrestling on both channels. I don't mind that. My problem is way too many people are losing their jobs for something that was working for the most part. And it stopped working because somebody, I assume, and I know when you assume, it makes you an ass, or makes you look like an ass, and you and me, whatever it is, But
we can ask out of you and me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But my point is this is just going to keep going. It's a circle, and for the first time in a long time, or the first time I'm ever saying this, is I want McMahon out of there. Like, I just want him gone. I don't like this. I don't like the way they're doing it. I thought when they hired Nick Khan, this was going to be a good thing. It has been an absolute disaster. It's easy for me to say this because I don't know the guy, but I completely despise everything that's happened since he's been there. And this company's been making money left and right, and COVID plays a little bit of an excuse in there, but they're still making profits. So all I can say is, just I want it to change. But yeah, I just wanted to say my piece about it because it's just ridiculous when you lose guys like William Regal, Samoa Joe. They released talent like Timothy Thatcher, who was actually working with or training people while he was out.
I don't get that.
And the things they do, like one of the new trainers that they brought in just moved there in October from Las Vegas.
Allison Danger?
Yeah, moved there from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
She came from October. She was hired in October, November, right?
Yeah, something like that. And she's already gone.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Had his first day at his new school this week.
Yeah. It's just pathetic.
That's what I don't get about NXT. If you're going in this direction of bringing in talent that have no wrestling experience, or some have a little bit of wrestling experience in these, why are you releasing all these trainers that could teach them this stuff?
Yeah, and they're good ones. It just
because they're asinine, and the fact of the matter is that
I don't get
WWE logic doesn't make any sense. I there's this good saying, when the ship is sinking, the only person who's going to be on there is the captain. And it seems like, Nick Khan and Vince are like, oh, I don't care. But the problem is that these are people's livelihoods. Like, you're making people relocate in order to make your brand successful. And what the hell are you doing? I mean, you have a train wreck in Raw, and it literally needs to be fixed. And it seems like NXT, it's kind of okay. I mean, they're trying to get back to their roots, but it's not making headway. And I mean, bringing big names like AJ in is going to put more eyes on it.
By roots, they mean like the 2012 when it took over from FCW as a developmental roots. Like those roots. Yeah. I watched the first few episodes of when they did the relaunch, and they were not good. They were basically all squashes, except for the main event would typically be a little bit dumb competitive, but it was. I mean, it like at least like it reminds me actually of like AEW Dark, but at least with Dark, you're gonna get entertaining matches and stuff, and and this was just not it.
I agree with Ron right there. It just seems like they're trying to throw paintballs or sponges full of paint and make it stick. I mean,
I get it.
Did he need to hate on the CW though?
They're selling here. CW's up for sale.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's like let's not hate on the CW now. But like,
but the thing is for me though, real quick, is that this past NXT show I actually liked. All right. Next week's NXT show, I'm very, very hesitant about, because the only outstanding hype that they have is AJ. Now, bringing big names from the main roster down is great. It'll get more eyes on it. Joining. Yeah, especially Walter. But the thing about it is that what else can they do? They have this opponent, and as much as they're not going to point it out, is this juggernaut opponent that's AEW, and Impact's doing good. So, if you had to ask me which brand I'd probably watch, I hate to say it, but I like NXT. I like SmackDown. I hate Raw. So you have 2 out of your 3 main shows I'm paying attention to, and then you have Rampage and you have Dynamite, and Dynamite's throwing bangers of matches left and right. So you don't think all these fantasy matches everybody dreams about, and AEW is giving it, I'm going to not pay attention to that? Come on, you're out of your freaking mind, man. It doesn't make any sense. You get rid of Regal. Didn't they get rid of Fit Finlay too for a long time ago?
I think so.
You get rid of all these great-minded people that can train the next generation and make them a lot better. And now they're running into problems trying to get people for the Rumble.
I think losing Fit Finlay has hurt the women's division.
I think Johnny Ace getting back to be the head to be.
That too.
The guy in charge of talent relations, I think has a lot to do with it, because
he doesn't have a good reputation, Johnny Ace.
No, I mean, let's not forget, this is the guy who was in that same position during the Divas era, and they kept getting models and stuff instead of people who actually were wrestling, because they saw how good Trish Stratus got, and they figured, oh, well, we can just do that and copy that. Not getting that Trish was a 1 in a million.
Maurice, I could say, was succeeded in that. Maurice succeeded in that. It's very rare. I would say it's very rare.
I don't think Maurice succeeded nearly as well as Trish did. They were
but she succeeded.
Yeah, and then you also have a thing where they'd have 3 minutes counting the entrances, and it's and that's the whole reason why why give Divas a chance was trending when it did, because people were finally sick of this. You had a thing where it was a minute and a half for a match counting on the entrance.
I think WrestleMania, wasn't it? 3 minutes of WrestleMania?
No. This was some Raw. This was some Raw match, because then AJ Lee. Because this was after that Mania, and AJ Lee had.
Oh yes, you're right. It was after WrestleMania.
And she had tweeted it out. That's what caught fire. She tweeted it out first.
Lee was so misunderstood. Popular as Lee is, she was so much underused in the air because like there was not legit competitors in the ring that could go with her. That's why they had to get like Paige. Like Paige, when they called her up, Paige was like the only one. I mean, the Bella's improved. I mean, Nikki specifically.
Let's Brie Bella. I think after her last couple of matches, I was like, Brie, you don't need to wrestle anymore. I mean, but Nikki actually got to be pretty decent.
Lee was just too good for the era she was in.
I was going to interject this and let Rob speak because we've been bantering enough and we have a whole show, and I know Rob wanted to pop in for a few minutes. So what's your mindset on all this stuff? Because you released two great minds, like you said, Rob, but it absolutely doesn't make any sense. Now, I wanted to ask you this, is that do you believe this is the year AEW goes ahead in the ratings against Monday Night Raw or SmackDown? NXT, they demolished already, but do you think the two juggernauts that are WWE IPs they're going to beat?
They won't catch them in SmackDown. I don't think it's going to happen. They're too far behind. I mean, they just hit 1 million today, and I mean, what's SmackDown like over 2 usually? They won't be able to double. I don't think in a year, and I honestly don't know if they will. Just the way things are. It'll be interesting to see what they do. There's a lot of things going around now with like certain talent. I mean, we know that they re-signed Kevin Owens. There's been rumors that Sami Zayn re-signed. Dave Meltzer reported that AJ Styles has re-signed. That one actually surprised me somewhat. Like, I thought his contract wasn't up for another 5 years, but they could like it's just one of those things. I don't think it can catch them. It's just too far ahead. They won't catch SmackDown. There's a possibility they can catch Raw, but WWE has to.
I think the
issue
really
mess things up.
I think the issue is AEW needs to catch the casual viewers to catch up, because the casuals will still watch WWE.
Yeah,
despite how bad the product is.
Yeah, the other problem, and Drew just said it. I think you posted what he said, and I completely agree with that.
I do worry about SmackDown though, because
they're too far behind with SmackDown. It's not gonna happen. SmackDown's actually gotten worse though, TV wise.
And they're losing Drew McIntyre. They're losing like star power could go up against Roman Reigns, because I know they're doing Brock again, but if this Drew McIntyre is out indefinitely, and when we hear indefinitely, it could be like a week, it could be 2 weeks, but usually it means a long time. Usually, I don't know who else in that roster they could build up to the level that could to throw Roman Reigns besides them going to options. Brock Lesnar. There's some options. There's just
they can.
Do you trust them?
Well, no, I lost my trust when they started releasing people last year. Yeah. But I'm gonna let Throwback take back over. But I'm gonna head out because I didn't have too much time. So just want to say thank you. You guys have a good one, and thanks for letting me come on for a few minutes. And
always welcome, Rob.
I want to say this, but since you're like one of the co-creators of the show, man, I miss you, man. And you and me got to do something going in this year, whether it's just, like a one-off show or something like that, because, dude, I love you, man. You're my best friend. I miss you.
No, I know it's been crazy, like just everything going on and stuff, but yeah, we'll do something for sure, man. That's the truth. So, but I will talk to you later.
Just be safe, man, and be healthy.
Right back to you. And do that credit card stuff like we said, because you don't want that to keep going. Yeah. You don't want. I mean, if you're paying for it, you want to use it. So, all right, boys.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Take care, Rob.
So yeah. One thing I do want to say really quickly before we change subjects is
before you hold that, because my little friend that's not home with me for the weekends popped in. Hey, Lily. Your mom's probably watching, so behave.
We can't swear. Just be careful. Just don't swear.
I just wanted to say really quickly that I've seen people going, well, the black and gold NXT, like, it wasn't making stars for the main roster, and that's what 2.0 was supposed to do. And it's like,
it was.
And it's like, I've got two things to say about that. One, that's the fault of the main roster people for not taking advantage of what NXT had done. That's the fault of Vince McMahon and the writers. And just a recent example is Karrion Kross. He's the NXT champion, undefeated, comes up on Raw, loses in under 90 seconds to Jeff Hardy while he's still the champion. While they're building towards this big takeover match between him and Joe, he drops the title. He comes to Raw and gets saddled with that stupid helmet and stuff. And so there's that. Number two, if black and gold NXT wasn't making the stars that Vince wanted for main roster, then he should have put a stop to it long before this point. He should have put a stop to it in like 2014 before the product really started to catch on, and especially 2015 when you got in the era of Samoa Joe and the Horsewomen and Finn Balor and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like, that whole era is what really made NXT.
Shinsuke Nakamura, the people that came after
that was a little
later. But still, we're still up there. Like,
and like that thing, and like, because
all I gotta say,
legitimately at one point you had the hottest wrestling show.
Yeah.
Period. Like
in the planet.
Like the weekend of WrestleMania in 2018, you had TakeOver New Orleans and you had a Ring of Honor Supercard the same night happening basically at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was legitimately a thing where it's like there's people who really wanted to watch both because they looked like they're going to be amazing shows, or they were in town and they wanted to go to both, but they had to pick one and choose one. It was by far the best thing about WWE, and now there really isn't anything to enjoy in the WWE umbrella at all. At least for people who enjoy that type of wrestling.
I want to say this much, and we'll keep going talking about this because there's a lot to talk about on this, and then we'll talk about the week and stuff, and we might mix it up. For me, NXT, the original, will always be amazing because of the fact that it had a mystique. You pointed out that they messed up. A lot of people are saying they messed up the whole main roster thing, but you have to look at the list of people that have succeeded through the NXT ranks, and there's people that never held the NXT title but are freaking phenomenally successful. I mean, I can tell you one thing, and it's the one that you absolutely love is Becky. Becky never held the NXT title, and now look at her. Alexa never held the NXT title and was going through the NXT landscape. Not for OB, and not from freaking FCW. She never was in there. It was straight NXT. Look how successful she is. I mean, there's it's like a ebb and flow of both ideas where you're saying, well, the main roster doesn't know, the people up on the main roster who make the decisions doesn't know what they're doing. No, it's just they put people in situation. I'm not defending WWE on this. No reason to it. No way to do it. But I'm saying,
did herself, though.
Well, that's what I'm going to get to is that it's just the fact that if you get an opportunity, they expect you to see what you do with it. They don't pick and they could pick and choose and say, hey, Roman, you need to get to this. And if you don't handle the ball, we have to pull you back. It's like any other job. But the thing is that they have to figure out how to fix this because somebody who's watched WWE since I was 4 years old. Yeah, my birthday's next month. You could figure out the math. Go look at past shows. You could find out my age. And it doesn't make any rational sense to put more stock on it. Now, I'm going to say this much. The contract is coming up soon for their TV deals with USA, I think, and Fox. I'm going to say this now. Fox is going to re-up and give them more money, but I think USA, which is NBC Universal, even though they have the rights to the Peacock stuff, might be a little hesitant because of how things are. than which way things are going. Like, yeah, they get 2 shows and Fox get 1. But let's say the UK show is on there and they want to put it on in front of USA and stuff like that just to get ideas. I mean, there's multiple moving parts in that deal. But the problem is, if you fix one show and change the dynamic of it, I'm with a lot of people. 3 hours is just, it's insane. Like 3-hour show, like put it back to 2 hours, scale it back, and then use the extra hour for something else. Like, the UK, get people interested in the NXT UK. I like the NXT UK product because of the fact that it's a 1 hour show that makes you remind you what NXT used to be and how good it is. And it's still like that. But why don't you put the NXT show on right afterwards at 10 o'clock, and then that fills the gap that USA needed for that 3 hour. Keep Raw 2 hours and then give somebody an extra hour. But they're not going to do it.
No, because Raw, just because it's Raw, that has more name value than NXT, because Raw has been on since the 90s, since like 1993, I think. So NXT, they would, even if it was still WWE programming, because it's not Raw, it would not have the same name value, the same cachet. They could not charge as much for ads.
The thing with NXT Black and Gold, it was the hottest thing at the time. Like, it was the best wrestling at the time. It still had a struggle to get the casuals to watch it.
I want to say this: if you guys are watching, like, comment, and subscribe while you're doing this. It helps the algorithm to give you a thumbs up on these YouTube stuff. Go on Twitch, subscribe to that. We're 5 people away from hitting 50, which will be amazing if we keep a steady of everything. It'll help these guys to do a lot more. But I still think that the 2.0 is getting better, but they need to.
I'll take your word for it.
But I think they need to not rely on big
Von
names.
Wagner.
I think AJ, God, Von Wagner.
He's so bad.
I think AJ is. Well, I want to say this. I think AJ is in the position, and I've been thinking about this very seriously, so you guys can do it. I think AJ Styles is in the position of Taker. I think when they did the Boneyard match, he kind of passed the baton and be like, hey, it's now your turn to teach these people ahead of time. And that's why he's down there in NXT to do so. But I think the problem is that focusing on one person and then bouncing him back is not going to help. Let him go for a run. Let him go after that. The whole thing with Tommaso was a little bit hinting at something maybe. And I wouldn't mind seeing Ciampa and Styles and NXT at least once. Like, maybe, hell, I'm going to even throw this as a long shot dart. I even said this on, go check out the post show for NXT on bodyslam.net. I was on that on this past Tuesday, and I wouldn't be shocked if they do this just to pull the trigger to get more eyes, putting a Mania match together where you have AJ Styles as the NXT champion and lose it to somebody like a Carmelo Hayes or something. I know Anakin's shaking your head, but let me say that is because if they give something like that to AJ and let him run it and teach these people up to get over his edge, he'll be putting people up, and then you can have stuff like that. Edge has even said it in the past. He would love to work in NXT at least once for one small run. It all depends on how it's going to go. Now, we'll talk about NXT since we're still talking about Joe and NXT and stuff, but New Year's Evil was pretty good, I thought, and having a new champion that was crowned, it makes it interesting. But I think for me, everybody's on the Braun Breaker train right now, so to speak. But for me, I'm kind of reserved to see what will happen because I don't want to be like all in and then all of a sudden he carries the NXT banner for a while, for about a month or two, and then they pull him off. I don't want to have that feeling.
I hope not. No, don't do it to Braun Breaker, man.
I don't. Just to be clear, I don't see them ever doing an NXT title match at WrestleMania again. I think they did it the one time because they were trying to drum up interest in NXT because they were still going up head to head against AEW. Now that it's no longer going up against AEW, like I think I don't think you're going to see anybody who is an NXT champion on a main roster card.
Sean thinks Braun Breaker is going to get called up soon. I disagree with him. He thinks because now he's a champion. I don't think he's getting called up for a while.
I have no opinion on the 2.0, so when you get talking about the TBS champion,
the worst.
Then I can join in. Until then, I really have nothing.
The worst thing about NXT 2.0 is it's getting better. It's just that if you take out Von Wagner, take out Von Wagner. That's all you gotta do. Just take out Von Wagner because him on the mic, first the character is boring. There's nothing to him. And he's just angry. And when he talked last night, I'm like, my God, this guy can't talk. Give him a manager or something.
I think that with Von Wagner, there's a lot of things they expect, but
yeah,
I mean,
this guy is gonna if this guy was on the main roster now, he's gonna get destroyed by the audience.
He would literally be eaten alive.
Yeah,
I think for the best, other than Grayson, right, and Breaker, I think MSK would be great. I think, and this is going to be as much as people give Vince grief about. Excuse me. About tag team.
Tag team.
Yeah. Sorry, post-COVID freaking cough, man. I think that in NXT 2.0, they're making more emphasis, like more time for the tag team. Look at the Imperium match with MSK and Riddle, and a lot of the intricate tag team matches and stuff. They're going back with the Dusty Cup. If they didn't care about tag team wrestling in the 2.0 era, they wouldn't be doing the Dusty Cup at all. Like they wouldn't be doing it. I think they
do it as a tribute to
I get that,
to Dusty Rhodes. I don't think it necessarily has to do with a love of tag team. I think it's a way for them to honor Dusty. That's my honest opinion. If it wasn't named the Dusty Classic, I don't think they'd be doing it.
No, but I get that. But I'm saying that for a casual fan, it makes them look like they care about it. I mean, for me, what I'm more excited for is to see what NXT has to go into 2022. Now, having a new champion. I mean, who would have thought that if somebody posted a picture on Twitter stating that you got, Brock, Roman, and Breaker as champions in this type of era. But for me, I'm just wanting to see more, and I'm excited for what could be, but I'm like everything else in life, I'm kind of reserved on that because I don't want to be like, oh, this is great, and then you get hyped up about something and get let down, Like a good example is just like when the Xbox Series X came out, everybody wanted it, was so hype about it, but there was not enough supply. So I'm kind of like, hesitant on certain things, and that's one of them. I mean, AEW is a juggernaut right now. Let's be real honest. Moving to TBS and having bangers of a match like they did, yesterday, which is amazing. But I think NXT on Tuesday nights should have been the play in the beginning. And I think as much as we had to move our show for that, I think it's awesome to see how great they're doing. I just hope eventually when things get better, they get better overall.
I just NXT when they have their takeovers, I feel like they don't put on the kind of matches like they once did in the past, where a lot of nights they have a lot of banger matches. I feel like NXT takeovers don't have that anymore. Don't have that kind of matches like that anymore. There's takeover. I feel like they lost some steam with that kind of wrestling.
I mean, you could look at it that way too. But also another thing you could see it as is like the match from Tuesday night with Ciampa and Breaker. That was like felt like a highlight of a takeover match, like a main event takeover match, like a big deal type of match. The women's triple threat match, I
thought it was just okay.
That was the worst match of the night.
Yes. There was a lot of miscues in that match.
For me, I noticed a few botches too, and I pointed it out on that post show for bodyslam.net. Was that that botch for the unification where Strong for the reverse leg drop, springboard leg drop. Strong didn't, and the camera's right up front on him, and he literally had the camera, and just all of a sudden you see him looking, having one hand, both hands to the rear, looking and flipping his leg over in front of the camera, and then you could see Strong looking both back and forth, and waiting for him to land it so he could drop. The problem is that if you look closer on that, he literally leaned over it.
No, he's not a good boss either. You're muted. You're muted.
I like being muted on him. You have technical issues, dude.
Dang it.
There you go.
No, I had it muted because I coughed, but no, I just want just like no, Jeff Bezos is not a good choice for that. He's got the money, but that's
more
than Vince, but I agree with you. He's not a good choice either.
But I'm basically saying that, that women's triple threat, the botch that could have been really bad if it wasn't fixed in mid flight. I mean, Strong leaned too close to the ropes, and then he leaned back like literally seconds before Hayes was going to hit that leg drop, and literally that could have been like end all of be all. But you already could see they were telegraphing that way ahead, and that's the stuff they have to stop cutting out. They have to stop telegraphing their moves beforehand. Like, I had somebody ask me, well, why do you watch it if it's all fake? No, the physicality is real. People get hurt. If you want to see how people get hurt, look at that video of Sid Vicious back in the day. Yeah. But I'm saying, if you really want to see if this really hurts, look at Sid Vicious and that knee freaking.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. That's bad. Yeah.
So, I mean,
just
if you want proof that it's real, it's just predetermined, and we like it because it reminds us as like Roman gladiators, where everything, some of the
let
stuff
them go to school, learning the craft to see how real it is. Like,
but overall, New Year's Evil was a good show. But it just had ebb and flows. It had problems, and like, we saw
it's a habit of younger generation, right?
And stuff. Yeah, but it's like for us who watch this and analyze it, and it's like, you're giving us great content, but you're not giving us the content we hope for. I mean that's maybe a reach there.
I'm gonna expect that with the matches to be like that, because there's a lot of younger talent that are not either a little bit experienced or experienced. Were in the past takeovers before it became 2.0. They had a lot of experienced wrestlers going at it, so you wouldn't see the mistakes as you see now because of the younger wrestlers that are either inexperienced or a little bit experienced.
Now, I'm going to ask Anakin this, consider he's a father, and this is a good question. Would you want your kid to watch let's say AEW wasn't it? Would you want him to watch, NXT in the past or the current NXT? Because, I'm around kids all the time, and, my girlfriend's youngest, Lily, I would let her watch wrestling with me if she wanted to, but I would rather have her watch women's wrestling over men's, not because of gender, because at least in the women's division, the wrestling's good.
Was it? Because apparently there was a really bad spot in the women's triple threat where Mandy ran away.
Oh, Mandy! Like oh my god! I know
but I'm saying just overall in women's division wrestling, women's wrestling.
Oh,
I would let her watch that over anything. It's not gender based. I'm saying division wise. I think I would let her watch the men still, but I'd watch, be push her towards the women, because at least they want it. They're like, they want to work hard for it just to get their time. It's just these sometimes men's division wrestling, they think that, I have to pitch to Vince and I get my time and stuff. It's not guaranteed, that's why I want people to, you have to work hard for something. Yes. But look, I mean, there are people that work hard in this craft, but they don't get a shot at it, a shot at it. Look at all the people that were released. Look, good example. You have probably the #1 women's champion in wrestling right now, in literally killing it in Deonna Purrazzo, in my opinion. And then you have Roman, who is probably the equivalent to her in that right. It's just asinine to see so many great talent, and then WWE just botches it because of the fact that they got rid of it. I don't know how many in the last 2 years during this whole COVID situation, we're almost 2 years into it. How many people they've let go? It's got to be over close to like 1,000 at this point.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I mean,
I have no idea.
It's just ridiculous. And now they have all these problems with their roster and stuff. I mean, I hate to say this, guys, but WWE, the captain's going down with the ship and everybody's bailing.
I'm telling you that Vince McMahon is not going to sell it. He's not going
to sell it, but he's going to freaking dismantle it. I think something internally happened. Big time happened to piss him off with Hunter.
Remember that promo back in 2002 when Vic Flair came in and started to have control of WWE? I know that's kayfabe stuff. And then he said, I have to destroy it. I have to inject poison into the WWE. And he saw the NWO logo. Yeah. Remember that? When 20 years, fast forward 20 years later, that's what Vince McMahon's doing.
Yeah, he's doing it financially. It's just they're making more money on. They're looking at it more so that ratings don't matter. But I hate to say this, I might be the old school cat in the room, but ratings matter because it gives you a barometer. It doesn't give you an idea like social media numbers do, but it gives you a barometer of where you're heading in the future with certain demographics. And unfortunately, that one important one, 18 to 40. They're not doing too good, so you penned on that next generation, that the PG era and stuff like that. Eventually, those kids are going to be your demographic, and eventually, they're going to be now AEW's main graphic, because AEW's running rickshaw in the 18 and 40. So eventually, that's going to end up happening.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you? Well, I mean, there's a lot of meat on that bone there, dude. So why not?
Sure, but there's also I got about 13 minutes left before I gotta go, and there's TBS Championship. There's day one. Okay, so
day one was a shit show.
Again, look. And there's people out there, and Patrick Mason, I wish you could be on because you enjoyed the show, and I really would have loved for you to be on because I can't comprehend that, and I would very much would have appreciated you giving your perspective on why you thought the show was great, especially like he said, Liv and Becky was a match of the year contender for him, and to me, I was like, it was.
Of course, it's one of the few matches of the year.
Well, and I was like, it was.
It's the first match of the year. It's like the first match of the year.
Except it wasn't because you had Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh, but it became before Wrestle Kingdom.
Well,
so
sure.
At the time, it was.
I still wouldn't have been, but Usos and New Day. I would have been one of those people who would have said, I don't care how many times I see it. I'm always down for an Usos and New Day match. And that match they had at day one made me go, meh, maybe not. Because it started really slow. And I was like, what is this? And thankfully, it finally started to pick up and get going. And by the end, I'd say, it was down for at a D for me, and they managed to bring it up to a C+. But it's just I don't know why you're going so slow. Riddick Moss and Drew McIntyre did not need to happen. Did not need to happen.
My idea for that match, I know why it went long.
Don't have it.
Okay,
there's your idea.
Yeah, I know why it went longer because of the Roman situation. But my idea for that match, if there wasn't the Roman situation, as soon as the bell rings, Claymore 1, 2, 3. That's it.
Here's the thing. According to Sean, it didn't go longer than planned. It was
oh, really?
Every match with entrances. Yeah, on the Backstage and Report, I listened to it. Pretty much every match with entrances went the length that they had originally been slated for before the Roman news came down. The only match that changed was the main event, which was actually about 10 minutes shorter.
Oh, man.
No, you did not need to have that.
Just have the beatdown backstage.
That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all. There you go. That's all you need. You need to write off Drew. Okay, you do the beatdown, write him off. He can't compete. Whatever. Like that's fine. You don't need to go through the whole thing. And then the only match that was like actually like oh, it's actually good was the main event, and then it just ended. It ended too soon. It ended too soon. That was my first complaint about the match. The match like. It was getting going, and it was like I should have gone another 6-7 minutes at least, and it should have gotten the 30 minutes that it was allotted because the entrance alone took like 6 or 7 minutes. So the match went, I think actually
Big E's
actually.
entrance.
Let me look up and see because I think I can look up the match time.
I was
exactly how long.
I knew Big E was going to lose the title once his entrance is fourth instead of last. Yeah, he's done as champion.
8:25. That's
8:25.
That's what the actual in-ring time.
8:25. But I know it sounds like a typical Brock Lesnar match, but Brock Lesnar could go longer than 8 minutes.
No, because I'll tell you what. Let me look at. Hold on. Let me pull this up. SummerSlam 2017.
Brock could go long. Like
SummerSlam 2017. The main event was a 4-way.
Yeah, I remember
Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe. That went 20:52. So you have a match, and that was only a few years ago. So you have a match with one more person in it, and it's less than half of the length of that time. Like it finally got going, and then and then it just ended, and then on top of that, not only if you're gonna have Big E lose the title, fine. I didn't think they were gonna do that because I thought for sure they still wanted to do the Brock Roman match. I don't know when the heck they're gonna do it again. But then of all things, you have Brock.
They're looking at Mania probably.
But yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised that the way Brock's acting and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the problem is
Lashley.
But the problem is now Brock has a title. Well, Brock and Lashley is set at the Rumble. That's gonna happen in the Rumble. But like the problem is that I don't know. But then like you did not need to have Big E be the one to actually take the pin. Like you could have have Rollins take
Rollins or Owens, something like that.
Well, Owens just re-signed. I wouldn't have pinned Owens because they did get him to re-sign, and I wouldn't have done that. I certainly don't want Lashley to take the pin, so have Rollins take the pin. He could eat it.
This is just a setup for Lashley and Lesnar. That's all it is. And I like that. I want to see Lashley and Lesnar.
That's good. You don't need a title.
No.
It's the same reason why people are going, oh, Roman Rock for the title at WrestleMania. That does not need a title.
No, because The Rock won't win it.
It doesn't. Yeah. If there's no title involved, it's more up in the air. That is a marquee match all on its own. It's the same kind of thinking that
Cena.
That too for the rematch, but then also Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. That did not need to have the title attached.
No.
To go ahead.
And if you're gonna do Roman and Brock, right? Give them a little stakes, but not the title. Make one of them a chance to get the number one contendership, at least at Mania, because then you could have a longer feud and set that up for SummerSlam with 2 months. Yeah.
Or I mean, if you really wanted to have Lashley win the title, Brock's mad at Lashley, so then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna," and then you have Brock challenge Lashley for the title at the Rumble. You could have done that. Like having the title go back to Lashley, like that would have been okay. That would have been fine.
I mean, for me, it just WWE trying to get people to get interested. Like day one, I get it. It was a Saturday pay-per-view, which is great. I don't mind Saturday pay-per-view.
Well, like they pretty much sold it out and for tickets. It did very well.
Every pay-per-view now is gonna be Saturday for I don't know how long, but
I don't know about everyone.
I think the Rumble is.
Well, they want to do more Saturdays, but they they want. I think their big reasoning is, but the other thing too is they also want to be wary of UFC events. Like that's like that's why like I'm trying to think what it was. I think Double or Nothing was on a All Out was on a Sunday because there's a UFC event that previous Saturday. So in UFC is like, especially depending on who's on that card, they don't want to have something go up against it.
I want to see like really good matches coming up, and it just Brock is amazing as a babyface. Let's give him that. I want somebody who can just like Lashley. We wanted that match a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, basically as soon as he came back.
But the thing is, a lot of people wanted that, but that Lashley that came in, that was not the kind of Lashley we need to see Brock then.
That's because he got saddled with the Lashley sisters gimmick.
And Leo Rush didn't know.
Which I just learned this a few months ago. Max Caster of the Acclaimed was one of Lashley's sisters.
Oh, really?
Like, yes. Like,
and having
you go back, Max Caster is one of them. We're like,
and having Leo Rush did not help him. So that Lashley then that was not the Lashley that could face Brock. But this Lashley is.
But the point I'm trying to get at is that this is something we wanted years ago, and now we're getting it. It's almost like WWE is like late for the party kind of thing, or about to miss the train and stuff, and like they always do, and it's so infuriating because it's like you have a match made right in your hands, and you're like,
let's not forget they let the opportunity to have the Shield main event of WrestleMania walk away. We got a Shield triple threat, and it was at Battlegrounds.
Hell yeah, you're right. They did.
Not at WrestleMania, at Battlegrounds.
Just before the draft.
Yes.
They could have done so much, and there's going to be contracts expiring. I'm seeing people freaking play what ifs right now on YouTube where Seth Rollins has got all elite blood tags.
No, he's WWE.
He won't. He's not.
He's pro WWE. Everything he
is I know that, but I'm saying like there's people like doing all this artsy stuff with all these things because you never know who's going to get released. Come on now. Hell, Becky could be holding the title and boom, she's gone. And I hate to go backwards, but it's infuriating because now they run into these problems that they have with the Rumble and all these things. It's just it doesn't make any sense. Especially we didn't get to touch on this, especially with Toni Storm being released too.
Yeah, but she asked for it. Good for her. She realized this is not for me. She asked for her release. Good for her. That's how I want people to leave the company: is they go and ask if they can go, not to just get blindsided the way so many have. But I have thought about about how they would do a women's rumble. Because that's been a lot of time, and I've even seen a few people going, "Are they even going to do a women's rumble?"
Yes, they are.
They're going to do a women's rumble. They can do it. Here's how. Number one, right now there's 17 active members of on the main roster that are women. Now you got to take 2 of them away because that's Becky and Charlotte, so that's 15. Let's presume each one of them is going to have a title match where they're defending the title. Take 1 away for each. So that's 13. So that's 13 women, which is not a lot. And shame on WWE for releasing so many.
It looks like with Becky, with the situation on Raw, Becky is definitely going to defend the title at Royal Rumble.
So yeah. Okay. So you've got 13. Yeah. But then let's look at this. We've got Alexa Bliss. She's coming back. She's been cleared, just hasn't been used because they haven't had anything for her. She's coming back.
Yeah, she was taking a break.
Yeah. Lacey Evans is like 9 or 10 weeks postpartum and looks amazing. And based on her social media, she sounds like she's ready. She's ready to come back. She could be a surprise return at the Rumble. So that's 15 right there. You got Asuka, who I think she's good to go. She's been out for a while because she's been injured, but it seems like she's ready to come back. So if she's able to come back, I'm not so sure about her. If she's ready to come back, that's 16. Bayley is really up in the air because when she got injured, there was a real worry she might not be back in time for WrestleMania. So, but there have been rumors that her recovery and rehab have been going ahead of schedule. So maybe maybe she's been talking to John Cena.
I just think if Bayley and Asuka
hey,
come
how
back
do
to
you
the Rumble, I think having Bayley and Asuka come back to the Rumble is a bad idea.
Oh, I don't. I don't think it's a bad idea at all because people will be, pardon the pun, ready for Asuka. They'll lose their minds over Bayley.
Yes, I said
I
have Bayley
if
come
you
back.
do it, and depending on Sasha's health too, because
I think Sasha will be fine.
Yeah,
I can see the final two being Bayley and Sasha, just for them to go at it.
I love
a lot of people are toting Bianca winning the Rumble. I don't see that happening just because of the fact that it's better off getting somebody else. But I could see, and if WWE would be smart enough about this, and they're really not. They have a night one main event that everybody's been clamoring for in their hands, waiting to happen. When Bayley gets back, and guess what? They will botch that also. I'm sorry, but it's just like you have the Raw Women's Champion. You have Becky, the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte. There you go. You have an all or nothing match. There you go. You get the two matches for the title to have one out of the four of them hold, and at least one of them can say they are the best women's wrestler of all time. Now, Becky can hold that because it was a triple threat, and she was the underdog in that match because you have the baddest woman in the planet, the best women's wrestler at that moment was Charlotte, and then you have Becky, and Becky comes out with both titles. But none of them can say they're the better one. Charlotte could say, I have the most titles. Sure, but who out of all of them say they're the best? Like the best of the best. Charlotte's going to have the most titles when all of it's said and done. But think of the four of them, who is the best?
Think of the quality of so many of Charlotte's reigns, though. She'd have the title and drop it within a day or two. I mean, she had some really, she's got a lot of reigns, but I think as far as the main roster, I think the only reigns that mattered were her first few with the Raw Women's title when she was trading it back and forth with Sasha. And then when she won the SmackDown title from
Natty.
From Natty right before.
And she's having a long reign now with even with the trades.
Yeah, but I mean, she beat Becky for the SmackDown title at Money in the Bank, and then immediately got cashed in on by Bayley. Then she won the title
from Bayley
at SummerSlam and lost it. Not that week, but the following week. I believe on the Fox debut of SmackDown.
Yes, that's correct.
Against Bayley. Then she won the NXT Women's Championship at WrestleMania, dropped it the next month at TakeOver. She's had so many meaningless title reigns.
That's funny you brought it because WWE does not tell everybody that she is a 15-time champion. They look at it and come on now.
It's not canon. NXT is not canon.
Yeah, but as far as the Women's Rumble, so you've got Bayley's the one you don't know. So you're I'm trying to remember. I think I was around 17, 18. You've got people from NXT that are ready to go now.
I think Io Shirai.
You got Io, Raquel, Dakota Kai, and you can bring in Mandy Rose. She's done the Rumble. She knows how to do it. And yes, she's NXT Women's Champion. They had Ember Moon as the NXT Women's Champion be in the first Women's Rumble. They've had NXT champions be in the Rumble before. They could easily do it. Then you look at Molly Holly. She can still go. She's a producer. Have her go in. She gets a spot. Maybe you get another legend appearance from like a Tori Wilson or a Kelly Kelly or Leader or
something like that. Kelly.
Well, whoever. I know Kenny McIntosh would not be happy if it was Kelly Kelly, but I'm just throwing out names. All the rest of the names, you may have some green talent on 2.0, but here's the thing. Depending on how you use them, they could still be used. Because if they come in and they're in for 30 seconds and then they get dropped by Doudrop or a Bianca, that's it. If you have Doudrop take the Kane role in the Rumble where she just starts eliminating people, you have like a Cora Jade, maybe not Cora.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cora Jade's in the Rumble.
But whoever, well, and you got whoever are Mandy Rose's sidekicks now on
Gigi and James,
sure,
JC James.
Sure. Like you have those two, they're in the Rumble with Mandy. Mandy can kind of help like direct them, and they can be sort of like the thing where like they team up and like they like wait for their spot and then they eliminate somebody, and then you get like somebody else from the women's division. Their music hits. They hit the ring. They go to like do like a kick or an elbow strike on Doudrop. She just looks at them, gives them a clothesline, hits a move on them, toss over the top rope, in and out, 30, 45 seconds. You can do that, and the fact is they can make a women's Rumble work, but it's a shame on WWE that you'd have to do all these different sorts of things just to get it done, when a year ago you had more than enough people who would have been able to do this. I mean, you had Deonna Purrazzo, you had Chelsea Green, you had Ember Moon, you had Tegan Knox. I mean, you had all these people who would have been great in these Rumble spots, and now they're nothing.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up because Anakin's got to head out. Anakin, plug it away, man.
Real quick, I just want to say one last thing too, because it is in the description, and I want to briefly talk about it. TBS title match I thought was fine, could have been better. I expected Jay to win. I was hoping Ruby would win because I like Ruby, but I expected Jay. I expected Jay to win.
Just a finishing move on the top rope. It was just that was scary.
That was messy, and I had some people going, "Well, it's not supposed to." And I had some people going, "Well, it wasn't supposed to be neat," and I'm like, "No, that could have been done better." Like, good for her for deciding to not go up to the top rope because she was thinking about it, and then she's like, "No, I'm not confident." So good for her for not doing it, but yeah, unfortunately, that meant that that Ruby was not able to get fully in position when she came down. It's just an unfortunate situation, but you can find me on the Twitter at AnakinJMT. You can find me on the Mr. Warren Hayes Discord, of course, which you can go over there, youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. He's doing a show right now after this, so you can go there and check it out. Other than that, I'm on Twitter. I'm around and stuff. If you haven't yet, go see this movie.
Yes.
Go see it. I've got 2 shirts like this. I'll wear the other shirt some other time, but
I agree.
It's fantastic.
I got Turtles.
Hey, Turtles is pretty cool too. So.
Well, it's the classic Turtles because I had a friend of mine going, "Oh hey, I've got on Ninja Turtles pajama pants," and I said, "Which Turtles? This is very important." And he said, "It's a classic." I'm like, "That's acceptable." And also, would have been acceptable if you'd had the recent Ninja Turtles cartoon, because that was also
afford.
So, all right, see you later.
Later.
So we're gonna basically head out in a minute. So Vince has lost his damn mind. Yes, I agree with that. So for me, it's gonna be interesting this week with everything. I'm just hoping that wrestling this week gets better. We got SmackDown tomorrow and Rampage. What are your expectations of SmackDown with Brock being there?
SmackDown, the only thing that's interesting to me on SmackDown is the Brock and Roman stuff because I'm curious about how Brock fits on SmackDown now with the Roman situation, because we can tell that stuff is not done. And that's the only thing that interests me on a SmackDown right now is like that's it. I don't know what else there is. Like the focus on SmackDown, really.
I don't have no clue what they're doing at all. So I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
see where it's going.
Yeah. I'm just the Brock stuff, like, cause like when I watch Raw, and in day one, I'm like, so what's the plan here for Brock? And then he saw on Raw, he's like, I'm gonna be on SmackDown, and I'm interested in that. That's the only thing you find interesting about SmackDown for this week, because Roman's gonna be there.
Well, I'm gonna let you plug out, and then we can head out. Go ahead, bud. Do you think, man?
Okay, guys, thank you. So this is AWO Aaron World Order. You can find me on my YouTube channel at Aaron World Order AWO. I do videos on wrestling, but also on movies, TV shows, video games. I do on comic books. I do a lot of Marvel, DC stuff, news on that stuff, or just make streams to talk about whatever topics based on what's going on in the entertainment world. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's it.
I think it's going to be an interesting couple of days, especially with all the news coming out, and we'll find out more about that as we go. All I gotta say is that, you know, do a good deed, pay it forward. Check out bodyslam.net. I'm very honored to be a part of their post show for NXT. Maybe I can get Aaron on there to come on this week. Maybe have some fun.
Sir. Yeah.
But I mean, come back here, like, comment, and subscribe. Tap the bells for notifications. Hit the thumbs up, and also we need 5 more people to hit 50 on Twitch. So if you haven't done that, do that anyways. That'd be great and help us out. Allow us to have more flexibility to do stuff. We've been trying to get that going. It's just going to be a fun couple of days coming up with wrestling, but we are also ramping up on there. The tournament has been put on pause for a little bit because we're re-bracketing everything because of certain things that have been happening with people's lives and stuff like that. So to make it a lot easier. But we are going to get in the swing of things, and we will crown a champion at WrestleMania. I guarantee that. But we've got a lot of things planned in the coming up month, and just, you know, like I said, do a good deed, pay for it. Check me out Tuesday, bodyslam.net, post show for NXT, hopefully. I hope they're happy with the first episode we did. So, you know, go from there. Gotta love Fightful. Gotta love wrestling. We're gonna actually raid them right now. Our boys Pluggo and JPJ. Just have a good night, guys. Be safe. Take care.
Take care, everybody.